Hello, my name is Nick, and in this presentation I will be discussing how to improve the state of immigrant life in Albuquerque, New Mexico. To begin with, Albuquerque has a disproportionate amount of immigrant families and minorities living in poverty. Their low socioeconomic statuses are harmful to their futures, quality of life, and health. Their legal status and being can create disparities in mental health, employment, and healthcare coverage. A lack of resources is rampant within the immigrant population in New Mexico, and especially Albuquerque. I believe that there should be policy changes that allow low-income immigrants to obtain the resources they need. Furthermore, I believe the immigration system should be retooled to make the process easier for those coming from Latin American countries. I believe that these 4 proposals, to be mentioned later, would significantly improve the state of being for these persons both now and in the future. But first, some context to my personal connection with this topic. My purpose is to examine whether the city of Albuquerque can do more for these often marginalized persons. Being the son of an immigrant man from Guatemala, immigrant rights are a subject very important to me. During my time volunteering at different APS schools, I came to find that low-income Title I schools have a disproportionate amount of non-citizen and Latino students. In working with these children, they have told me their stories of the abuses that result from their parents not being able to speak English or generate enough money to take care of their families. These experiences inspired me to conduct this research, and the evidence seems to back my thoughts up. To add on the part about my father, despite coming here legally as a United States permanent resident in 1992, he was only able to obtain his full citizenship in 2021. The immigration process took him nearly 30 years because of extremely long waiting lists and huge quotas. My dad is one of a lucky few who were able to achieve this. There are still tens of thousands waiting for a shot to get in legally, never mind citizenship. The current state of immigrant life in Albuquerque is not relatively good, statistically speaking. Many non-citizen immigrants are struggling to obtain their citizenship due to an immigration system forcing a suspension in the legalization process. Immigrants and minoritized Latinos are more significantly likely to earn far less pay despite working more hours. Due to these factors listed above, immigrants' access to health care is significantly limited, therefore endangering the protection of their physical and mental well-being. My first proposal is that we should petition to fix the immigration system. A quicker and fairer system of immigration must be integrated. Many immigration quotas can take several years or even decades to proceed. Furthermore, the path to citizenship itself can take an extremely long time for these persons. We can petition to our local, state, and national governments to improve our immigration system. We, as lobbyists, should particularly seek to eliminate Title 42, a health law unfairly being used to disregard those seeking asylum in the United States. As it stands, no progress has been made in new legislation for immigration. In fact, the Migrant Protection Protocol suspending immigrants' legalization processes has been renewed. My second proposal would be to expand healthcare services for these persons. Non-citizen-friendly resources are key in establishing new progress for the quality of life of these people. The expansion of healthcare would especially be a step in the right direction for them. Immigrants in Albuquerque are currently struggling to meet their economic needs, which in turn affect their physical well-being. Researcher Nancy Burke has documented an all-too-common scenario: the difficult attempts of a Cuban family trying to obtain healthcare and medication for their grandmother by an unwelcoming and difficult Albuquerque health center. Because of their language barrier and lack of resources, their attempts are ineffective. A similar case study by Professor Cristobal Mendoza of the Metropolitan Autonomous University Iztapalapa in Mexico describes the experiences of immigrants trying to get by in Albuquerque. Barely making ends meet, it seems substantially more difficult to obtain consistency in medical services for themselves and their children. My third proposal is to offer better paying jobs for these individuals. Immigrants are at a higher risk of working much longer hours for far less pay. This is an injustice. I believe that these persons are some of the most dedicated workers in American society today. New Mexico is ranked 49th in poverty, and it affects Latino immigrants and persons of color by up to 3 times more. Promoting livable wages for them can help lessen the income gap and create happier families. A 2015 study documented by the website US News describes similar phenomena. Albuquerque, New Mexico, ranked 44th in income inequality ratio and notes that it particularly affects immigrants living in poor neighborhoods. My fourth proposal is to educate ourselves and our children. If we want to stop racist and discriminatory acts, we need to look towards the future. We must educate ourselves on how to be better allies for those facing wrongdoings and prejudice. As humans, we share a responsibility to aid each other in overcoming difficulties. Learning how to be a proactive witness is an important step in this process. We can speak up against any political proposals or laws that threaten the rights of our immigrant and Latino countrymen. We are all living under the same sun, and we must unite in order to make a change. We can stop future racism and ignorance by educating our young people about history and stressing the importance of racial equality and equity to them. I believe that petitioning for these 4 proposals should be promoted primarily through print advertisements, posters, flyers, brochures, commercials, and digital advertisements. Furthermore, additional peaceful protests should be organized, another element that needs to be put into consideration when discussing finances. I believe that a sum of $20,000 to $50,000 would be appropriate in starting and maintaining this citywide campaign. These funds would cover all expenses for advertisements, events, and costs relating to printing. Additionally, this campaign can partner with local allies such as United We Dream and Generation Justice. This would go a long way in informing people of all ages of our cause. In conclusion, immigrants are a crucial part of our communities in Albuquerque. They are the backbone upon which our society thrives and are responsible for many of the products and services that citizens take for granted. The effects and stress of living under a constant threat of deportation are detrimental to the well-being of these persons. Unfortunately, as New Mexico Voices for Children states, they are working harder for lower wages. The US News website ranks New Mexico as 32nd in a racial income gap. Despite their lower earnings, immigrants receive very little in transfer payments for health care. Often, this is a consequence of problematic immigration system for those without papers or education. It is my belief that the immigration system should be retooled to make legalization and citizenship easier and more accessible to immigrants. Healthcare must be expanded to cover these individuals. It is our duty as Americans to look out for one another. Let's come together and make a change. Thank you.